Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to The Mixer, the segment on this channel where I give you guys all sorts of detailed analyses from all walks of life. I'll talk about people, places, animals, food, sports, traveling, the whole 9 yards, hence why it's called The Mixer. Guys, I like to mix things up in this huge playlist here with over 200 videos at this point, and it's been a while since I've done one of these. I've mostly been doing, what's the damage lately, and also cinema chats, working on reviewing the Star Wars films and whatnot. And so today it's going to be something a little bit different than what you've been seeing lately, a little bit of a departure. And also, if you happen to have been following my channel for many years, this is definitely going to come as a surprise to you. I'm going to be talking about the whole acquisition of, Star Wars by Disney, which at this point has already happened 12 freaking years ago. Oh yes, folks, back in 2012, George Lucas sold the entirety of Lucasfilm to the Walt Disney Company for $4.5 billion, or is it 4.05? I'm not really sure how it works there. I think it's rather than 4.5 billion, it was 4.05 billion, something along that. They bought it in the form of cash and stock, so it was a very good acquisition for them, because, well, since then they have gone on to produce 5 feature-length films, which was the sequel trilogy and the 2 spin-offs, right? And also a whopping 13 television series in total, being both animated shows and live-action shows. And there have also been 3 video games. Not sure if that's directly related to them, but they definitely see a share of that, so we had, in 2019 we had Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, then in 2020 there was Star Wars Squadrons, then more recently in 2023 there was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Fallen Order. So and it's very interesting because a long time ago I was against this acquisition. I was not a big fan of Disney having bought Star Wars and making new movies that were completely different than what we were used to, and discarding all of the years and years and years of expanded universe material, whether it's books or comics or other video games and stuff. It was very, very sad at first, but as the years have gone on, it has been over a decade after all, I have grown to embrace it a little bit more. I've actually grown to like it, and I have actually been catching up with the Star Wars series lately. I've been watching a lot of them on Disney Plus, so having the opportunity to finally get into it and see what's up and understanding the new characters, the plot points and stories and all of the memes and cultural references and whatnot, I'm starting to feel much more in tune with what's going on. There are still some flaws. I do think Disney has been milking Star Wars too much in recent years, but it's impossible to deny that there is a very positive impact right now. So there's more Star Wars than ever, right? And I'm pretty sure George Lucas still gets a share of it, right? Yeah, being the creator, he might still get a few royalties here and there, even though he sold the company to Disney. And it's very interesting the direction that they have been taking lately, because we have been getting better, more fleshed out character developments and arcs and whatnot, and a lot more emotional stories being told and expanding on the backstories of other characters, so a lot of good actors coming to the fray. And I've been watching, not just the shows but also the sequel trilogy recently to review them again, and I have started to, I guess maybe I'm starting to like them a little bit more. Star Wars, the Disney Star Wars is starting to grow on me a bit. So I guess my opinion has largely changed over the years, but there are still a few things that don't really sit very well with me. And before I get into it, let's take a look at something here, right? Maybe a clip from, one of the movies.
Take hold of this moment. The force is strong. Make 10 men feel like 100.
We'll take the next chance. And the next. You're rebels, aren't you?
Now, within the film industry, Lucasfilm has always been a leading pioneer with creating special effects and sound and computer animation for films going forward. And to give you an idea of their success, 5 Star Wars movies are among the 50 highest grossing films of all time, with 4 of them coming after Disney acquired them in 2012. And also The Force Awakens itself still continues to be, to this day, the highest grossing film ever in the United States, and in Canada it's insane. So like the effect that Star Wars has, is phenomenal in pop culture. So many toys and other media franchises, games, books, shirts, movies, you know, everything, right? So it is a pop culture juggernaut today, man. It is insane. And there is actually another thing that I want to tell you guys. I have a little bit of a, let's say, a cheat sheet here of sorts, right? Aside from being one of the highest grossing media franchises of all time, Star Wars also has evolved into other even bigger projects like theme park attractions, right? So in Disney World, there is now an entire section dedicated just to Star Wars, so which is already expected. It was already, you know, in the plans. As soon as Disney bought Star Wars, they're like, yeah, they're gonna implement this in Disney World somehow. I don't know how, but it's going to happen and it will become a thing. So Star Wars has this all-encompassing fictional universe, and having been a fan since I was a kid, I have seen the growth, you know. I do still have a strong attachment to the, what today we call the Legends canon, right? Which was Star Wars before Disney acquired them. So we had the mainline 6 movies, the original saga. There were the Clone Wars animated series, you know, which actually finished recently in 2020 with Disney, you know, behind the reins. It was very good. I watched all 7 seasons, you know, like in a row. It was very exhausting, but, you know, satisfying all the same. The video games that I played back in the day, mostly on the PS2 and some on the Xbox 360, right? Some that come to mind are the original Lego Star Wars, is the first 2, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, you know, the game about the movie for the PS2. I played so much Battlefront and Battlefront 2 as well. The 360 came around, got a little bit of Force Unleashed in the mix, so I was always very, very adamant about consuming as much Star Wars as possible when I was a teenager. And as an adult, it feels very overwhelming, but because there's just so much of it. But at the same time, you know, it's a very, very healthy mix of nostalgia and also new characters thrown into the mix, you know. So, because if you were a fan of the original Star Wars, you know, back in the 70s and 80s, you definitely saw how far it came, you know. So, it's very interesting because we have the original trilogy from back then, all those decades ago, and then we have my generation, you know, the millennials who saw the prequel trilogy, and that's kind of like where some of us got into it more. And now even more recently, you know, it's almost like we are the old ones, you know, watching the sequel trilogy with the kids now having the same effect. They're watching the newer movies and then they get curious, they want to go back and watch the older ones. It's very nice, right? So even though I was very against it at first, today I very much welcome Disney having bought Star Wars, although I do feel like there are some things that are a little exaggerated, you know, like they take an idea for something that could very well be a short film, or rather not short, sorry, a regular feature-length film, and then they take that and turn it into a series, you know, like for example with Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was supposed to be like an hour-and-a-half long movie at first, but then they got the idea to make it into a 6-part mini-series, which, you know, felt like it was, they were padding a lot, you know, there were a lot of filler episodes and everything just felt like it was too dragged out, you know. Could have been a lot better if it was a standalone movie. I don't have very good opinions about Solo, a Star Wars story. I don't hold it in very high regards, although sure, I mean, it was an idea, you know, they executed it, you know, it didn't make a lot of bank, but they still tried to, you know, expand the backstory of the beloved legacy character. Rogue One was okay, you know, it was a lot better than Solo, although I don't know, I watched it just once in theaters and it didn't really resonate with me too much, but still, Disney is trying, you know, they are trying to take Star Wars in new directions and broaden new horizons, but I feel like it's just, it goes a little bit too overboard at times, you know. And speaking of which, let's take a look at something else here, a clip from one of the many television shows that they have released over the years.
We rob from the Empire, give to the needy. A noble cause.
Yeah.
I'm on my mark.
Gotcha!
Mission accomplished.
And of course, Star Wars is not just, you know, movies and television series, and even though that's all I'm showing here, there is a lot more that encompasses it, you know. Disney knows how to milk the cow. You know, there are novels and magazines and RPGs and radio dramas and merchandise. There's so much merchandise, you know. I can understand Disney being the company that they are. They're going to want to sell toys to kids, right? So that's actually why droids, you know, characters like the droid BB-8 were created, you know. It's like, there was nothing wrong with the original droids, R2 R2 and C-3PO, but you can tell that BB-8 was made mostly just to sell toys because it's just so cute, and I can imagine kids having a BB-8 that they just roll around in their house, you know, so they know how to make money. You know, you can criticize Disney all you want. They have been flopping a little bit lately, you know, in the movie industry because they're investing like, you know, $200 to $300 million in movies, and they're not, you know, it's not, you know, there's not a, how can I say this? There's not enough return on investment, right? So they'll invest $300 million in a movie and it'll make, I don't know, 150 to 200 mil. So they're going to actually lose money in the process. So they are investing too much money in things that they aren't sure that it will bring a stronger financial investment back in return, right? So, you know, it seems like, you know, let's just take a bunch of our classics and remake them in live action, you know, and see how much money that's gonna make, you know? Let's throw a bunch of stuff in the wall and see what sticks. And Star Wars is very finicky when it comes to this, you know, because you have a very, very loyal and dedicated and passionate fan base that has been catered for decades, you know, before they acquired Star Wars. So, I mean, there are people who are going to watch your content, that's for sure, but they might start dwindling, you know, as you know, pour out more and more of it without that much essence, you know. I'm still in the process of watching the Star Wars shows, so I still haven't seen, for example, The Mandalorian or The Book of Boba Fett or Ahsoka, no, sorry, Andor and Ahsoka, which I think came afterwards. I don't know what the order is there. So they are very critically acclaimed. You know, people hold them in high regards, but at the same time, when you release too much of something, you know, there is so much Star Wars content on Disney Plus right now that it's ridiculous, man. It's bonkers. You know, a little bit last year, towards the end of 2023, when I decided that I was going to watch Star Wars again, that I was going to watch the TV shows to get into the swing of things. When I saw how many there were, holy crap, you know, it was intense. To my credit, I have cleared out quite a bit of them from my watch list, you know. I've already seen at this point the entirety of the 7th season Clone Wars. I saw the shorts, you know, Tale of the Jedi. I more recently finished Bad Batch, you know, the 3rd season, right, which I reviewed here on my channel recently, although with the wrong intro. I accidentally used the Cinema Chazzy intro for that. I don't know how I'm gonna fix that later, but, you know, and also other things as well, you know. And what else have I seen? I think that's it, you know. Oh, I saw Kenobi as well. I saw Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm going to be reviewing that soon. So I feel like, but at the same time, I feel like the more that I get into it, the more shows that I watch, the more that emerge out of nowhere, you know. You know, we had season 3 of Bad Batch recently. Then there was, I think there's another season of Mandalorian coming out. And then there's also The Acolyte, you know, which is either already out or about to come out, you know. So there's way too much stuff to watch. It's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. If you've seen everything and you're up to date, then that's cool, you know. Maybe you're even clamoring for more, but you know, to me it's more like, okay, clearly the idea here is to make money, right? It's not really to entertain, it's more about to make cash back. So, you know, Disney is really milking that format of, you know, quantity over quality, right? So sometimes the original Star Wars, you know, media franchise, the expanded universe, right, it was much better because it prioritized quality over quantity. You know, it took a while for the movies to be released, and when they were, they felt good, you know. And it's, I don't know, man. I personally think it's cool, you know. I enjoyed it. I'm trying to look at the cheat sheet here, see if I can get something else before I cut again, but I don't know. I think I pretty much covered everything here, my little script of sorts. So that's essentially it, you know. It's like, I don't know, back then it felt like things were more catered to the fans, you know. There were a lot less content and material, there were more games, you know. Now there's less games. It's, sure, the few games that there are okay, I guess. I really enjoyed Jedi Fallen Order, didn't like Squadrons too much, and people are really talking well about Survivor, but I don't know. Before I wrap it up, let's take a look at one final clip here now from maybe a game or something that, you know, is related to Star Wars.
I can't change the past,
You trespass, Jedi.
but I'm done hiding.
Cal Kestis.
There really is no denying how popular Star Wars is even today, you know, in the cinematic zeitgeist, right? It still makes a lot of money. All of the 9 mainline films, which are now referred to as the Skywalker Saga, have all been nominated for Academy Awards, you know, mostly due to special effects and whatnot, you know, or practical effects, the design and whatnot, the sound, John Williams composing the scores and whatnot. And, you know, combined with the 2 anthology films, right, Rogue One from 2016 and Solo from 2018, the movies have generated generated a net worth of about $10 billion worldwide, which is insane, dude. It actually makes Star Wars to this day the third highest grossing film franchise in history, man. So, and that's just the movies, right? Imagine how much money the TV shows make, and the games, and the theme park attractions, the toys, you know, the merch, all of that stuff, you know, the books and everything, the comics. The Star Wars is everywhere. It's literally an all-encompassing cultural phenomenon, and it's never gonna stop, I imagine. I'm pretty sure that my kids will be watching Star Wars, you know, maybe with me, right? It's like it's something, because my dad, for example, watched the original Star Wars. He liked them, and I got into it with the prequels. We watched those together too. He's not a big fan of the sequels. He doesn't want to watch them with me, but maybe I'll convince him later, you know. So, and I'm pretty sure that maybe in a few years Disney might make another trilogy of films, you know. It's just gonna keep going and on, because I mean, they made another freaking Indiana Jones, man. Harrison Ford is like 90 and they still made another movie with him, you know, playing Indiana. So I mean, you really think they're not gonna make another Star Wars trilogy in a few years? You know, it might take another decade, but they're probably already seeing an idea. Now it's okay, so we had the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy. Now let's do the mid-quel trilogy. Yeah, let's make a trilogy of movies that happen between all the other ones. It's gonna be awesome, you know. Let's get in some new characters and stuff, you know. They're definitely sitting on these ideas, and there will be more. I think that they announced a Darth Vader spin-off movie, a Boba Fett spin-off movie, right? So there was an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, but that became the mini-series, so whatever. And I know it's just here to stay, right? And after all this time, I feel like it's better, you know. When it first happened and when the news broke in 2012 and then Force Awakens came out in 2015, I was not a fan. But, you know, over a decade later, I feel much more in tune now. I feel like Disney and my opinions are in line with each other, so I do approve of what they're doing. I like it. Not that it would make a difference to them if I disapproved, you know. I'm just a random YouTuber here who doesn't even make money with his videos, but still, it's nice. You know, I think it's cool, you know. I think that, basically, go away, you stupid motorcycle to muggle. That's Harry Potter. But yeah, man, I think that's essentially it, you know. And after all this time, oh my God, shut up. After all this time, you know, it's still very successful, you know, and very renowned and very nice to watch and whatnot. So yeah. And it's been 12 years. It's a very long time, you know. And here's to, you know, 15 coming up soon. Want to see what what they're gonna get up to. I really want to finish all of the TV shows, but I don't have time right now. But I will slowly. I'm going to watch everything that I can, and it's going to be quite awesome. And that's essentially it, guys. I think that's it. I just wanted to bring a little bit of backstory here and my opinions as well. I do love the direction that they're going. Love is a strong word. I like it, you know. Having been rewatching the sequel trilogy recently, and also the shows that I missed over the years, I like the character developments, the story arcs, you know. I like the music, and, you know, essentially everything about it, the special effects, the practical effects, the visuals, the design, everything about Star Wars still feels as magical today as it did when I saw it for the first time as a kid. So yeah, it's Disney, man. They know how to play on our nostalgia, you know. They really know what they're doing when it comes to that. Can't deny it. So that's essentially it. I just wanted to record this vlog here talking about my opinion about that, which has changed a lot over the years. I think I did a video some time ago about how Disney ruined Star Wars. That was probably 1 or 2 years ago, and oh my, how my opinion has changed. And that's it, guys. That is it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this, if you agree, disagree, if you like the direction Disney is going. If you dislike it, I'll probably run a poll or two in the community tab, so stay tuned for that as well. And it's all good. So, if you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every other day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell too so you can know exactly what time I upload, and it is all good. It's all good. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. May the Force be with you, and roll the outro screen.